Welcome to Maritime Professional Training Center's presentation on how to fill out an application for your Merchant Mariner's credentials. We will discuss and explain how to fill out all the required forms and documentation for your initial application in the following videos. Video 1 will explain how to fill out a United States Coast Guard CG 719B application form. Video 2 will explain and provide examples on securing and providing sea service time to the Coast Guard, including Form CG 719S. Video 3 will explain how to secure your Transportation Workers Identification Credentials, known as a TWIC card. Video 4 will provide information on how to complete, fill out, and provide your initial medical documentation using Form CG 719K. Video 5 will explain how to secure a drug test for your application using Form CG 719P. You should print out, or open on your computer screen, a copy of any of the application forms or documentation needed prior to watching any of the videos in this presentation. Having a copy of the appropriate form in front of you while watching and listening to this presentation will be extremely helpful.
And remember, all the forms you need are just a click away on the National Maritime website. Understanding this process can make your life as a mariner much easier. So, don't let the uncertainty of license size and scope hold you back. Navigate your way to a successful maritime career with confidence and clarity.
Let's begin with Video 1. Your CG 719B Mariner's Credentials Application Form.
Form CG 719B Application for Merchant Mariner Credential. This is everything that the Coast Guard will require of you to submit with your original application to them for your first-time officer license. You can find this form at https://www.dco.uscg.mil/nmc/forms. Select the form CG 719B and download it. Either print it or open it on the screen and continue this video. The scope of your license will be based on your sea time, whether you're issued a 25-ton, a 50-ton, a 100-ton, or an OUPV license. Please note that the expiration date on the application form, this is the most current form and the only version that is being accepted by the Coast Guard. CG 719B, the first 2 pages of the form are instructions and do not need to be submitted to the Coast Guard. These 2 pages provide detailed instructions for the application process section headings, and the instructions correspond with the specific sections on the form. You will need to submit pages 3, 4, and 5. Section 1, Page 3, Applicant Information. All of the boxes on Page 3 in Section 1 are required to be filled in unless they are not applicable to you. First, fill in Box 1, your full legal name. If you are married, please include your maiden name if applicable. Then fill in your Social Security number, Box 2A. The box after that, Box 2B, is your Merchant Mariner reference number. You will not have this if it's a first-time application. Leave Box 2B blank. If you have an ARN, fill in Box 2C, if not, leave it blank. Box 3 is your birthday. Fill it in using month, day, year format. Box 4 is your citizenship. Fill in the country of your citizenship. Following that, fill in Box 5A is your place of birth. Fill in with the town, village, or city of your birth. Following that, fill in Box 5B, the state you were born in, and Box 5C, the country you were born in. Finally, fill in Box 5D, your eye color, and Box 5E, your hair color. Then we move on to applicant address. Box 6A, C, D require your home address, phone number, and email address. If you want correspondence from the Coast Guard to go to a different address than your home address, fill in Box 6B. This provides the Coast Guard a different mailing address and phone number in case you need it. Box 7A, B, C, D, E are for emergency contact information if you wish to include it, and select with the sample box above each contact method, the best way for the Coast Guard to get in touch with your emergency contacts. Section 2, page 3. Requested credentials or endorsements. For your initial 25-ton, 50-ton, 100-ton, or OUPV, you must select the boxes for Officer Original. This will be for your master's license. Then additionally, select the boxes for Entry-Level, Original. This will provide you with additional ratings on your license for Wiper, Steward, and Ordinary Seaman. These are the basic starting position for the 3 departments on board ships. Under the box selections is a larger box for a description of your endorsement or request.
In this box, write in OUPV or 25-ton master, or 50-ton master or 100-ton master. Then add inland or near coastal. This will depend on your sea service. Also, if you've completed your commercial assistance towing endorsement, write that in. Also, your auxiliary sail endorsement if you completed that. Don't forget to select the increase in scope box for these as well. Don't worry, if you are unsure, leave this blank for now. We'll cover this in the sea service video, and you can come back to this section when you know which size and scope you are currently eligible for.
Section 3, Safety and Suitability, page 4. The checkbox next to number 1 shall only be selected if you are exempt from holding a valid TWIC. If you are unsure whether or not you are exempt from holding a valid TWIC, you should visit either the NMC Safety and Suitability webpage link or the Coast Guard Policy Letter 11-15. Otherwise, if you are going to submit a TWIC with your application, leave this box empty. The checkboxes next to the number 2 must be answered. Answer then accurately and truly. These things will come up in a background check. If you are an original applicant, you must disclose all convictions. If you have any convictions, or you answered yes to any of these questions, you will need to complete the Coast Guard Form CG 719C for each question answered with a yes. Also, you must select 3, National Driver Registry box. Section 4, page 4, Mariner's Consent. Box 1, Mariner Outreach Program. This is an outreach program. Check yes or check no. As an example, if there were an oil spill, the USCG will reach out, see if you would like to participate in cleanup crew. If you want to be contacted for Coast Guard situations, select yes. You do have the option to decline when they call. Part 2, don't worry about continuity for the initial application. Consent, box 3. If you are under 18, you must select this box and provide a notarized document from your parent or legal guardian. Page 4. Section 4 is the Mariner's Consent and Certification. Part 5, Applicant's Signature. This is very important. You will sign the document and date it. Page 5, Section 4, only needs to be filled out and submitted to the Coast Guard if you are designating a third party to act on your behalf. A third party is any person or company you approve to discuss your application with the NMC. You can limit what a third party can do, or you can authorize the third party to act on all matters related to your application. Designating a third party is entirely optional. If you are designating a third party, you will need to provide all of the pertinent information. Failure to provide the name and complete contact information could result in the third party not being contacted. You must consent for the Coast Guard to release information about your application on your behalf. Information will not be released without this consent, regardless of your relationship to a spouse, parent, or employer. If there is ever a time when you need additional assistance filling out your application, please contact our customer service center at the number listed. If you are unsure of your sea time being inland or near coastal, don't worry, we'll cover that in the sea service video.
Greetings and welcome to an exploration of the maritime world. Ever wondered what qualifies for Merchant Mariner Sea Service? Today, we delve into this intriguing subject. First, let's unravel the mystery of sea service. In the simplest terms, it refers to the time a mariner spends on navigable waters. But the Merchant Mariner credentialing process requires more than just time spent at sea. It involves specific criteria to be met. Step 1. Understanding the hours per day. A day of sea service is not just any day on the water. It requires a minimum of 4 hours of watch standing or day work. Anything less than 4 hours, unfortunately, does not qualify. Step 2. Counting the days. The total number of days is significant when qualifying for sea service. For most mariners, the basic requirement is 360 days of service. However, this varies depending on the type of credential sought. Step 3. Knowing where you have operated. The location of your sea service matters. Whether it's inland, near coastal, or oceans, each area has distinct qualifications. Now, you might be wondering, who can utilize a small vessel sea service form? This handy form is for mariners who have served on vessels of up to 200 gross register tons. The CG 719S Small Vessel Sea Service Form is a crucial document. It's divided into several parts, each requiring careful attention. Section 1. Fill out your full name. A Merchant Mariner reference number if you have one, or leave this box blank. Include your social security number. The next set of boxes refers to the vessel you have served on that you are documenting on this form. The vessel name is required. The official number is also required. Otherwise, provide state registration data. Then, provide the vessel's gross registered tonnage, length in feet, width of the vessel in feet, and depth of the vessel in feet. Finally, in this section, provide the vessel's propulsion type, motor, sail, motor sail. The last two boxes are your position on board and areas the vessel has operated in while you were on board. For example, you served on the vessel as mate or deckhand. The last box is the area or areas you have sailed. They should be names of bodies of water: North Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico, Mediterranean Sea, or inland water such as the Intercoastal Waterway, the Mississippi River systems, or the Great Lakes.
Let's take a moment and delve deeper into the 3 primary sea service areas to help you understand where you have served. In order to understand the differences between inland sea service, near coastal sea service, and ocean sea service for a USCG Master's license, it's important to consider their relation to the demarcation line or boundary line discussed in your small vessel sea service form, separating inland rules from international rules. Inland sea service refers to operating inside or inland of the demarcation line or boundary line, where inland rules apply. This typically includes rivers, bays, and other waterways that are not considered open ocean. Near coastal sea service involves operating outside the demarcation line, but within 200 nautical miles from the coastline. In this zone, international rules apply, but the vessel is still considered to be in near coastal waters. Ocean sea service requires operating beyond 200 nautical miles from the nearest land. This is considered open ocean, where vessels are subject to international rules and regulations specific to oceanic navigation. Understanding these distinctions is crucial in determining your sea service in order to obtain the correct USCG Master's license scope.
The next section covers the sea time.
When you fill out the sea service, select the month you served on this vessel. Then under year within that month, place the year you served. Next to the year, under the specific month, document the total number of days you served on this vessel during the specific month and year. Add all of these up to provide the total number of days served on this vessel in the first box on the left at the bottom of the page. Repeat that for each month and each year served aboard this vessel. The first box on the left is the total number of days served on this vessel. Under that is another box for average hours underway. Under that, document the average distance you've traveled offshore on this vessel across all the time you served offshore. Then on the right, provide the number of days, if any, that you served on this vessel on the Great Lakes. Under this, document the number of days served shoreward of the demarcation line. Finally, document the number of days served seaward of the demarcation line. These last 3 days must equal the total number of days served on the vessel.
You can use this form for multiple years up to 5 years, but every vessel gets its own form. Flipping over, this is where you will sign a date attesting your sea time. If you are not the owner of the vessel, the person attesting your sea time will fill in their information there. If you do own the vessel, you will provide proof of documentation as well, such as title insurance LLC form, something of that nature. What if you don't have a small vessel sea service form? Don't fret. There are other forms of data for sea service. Mariners can provide sea service letters. These letters should include specific details like vessel name, official number, gross tonnage, service dates, and the capacity in which the mariner served. This is a sample letter. Make sure all of this is written in as stated and how it's approved for you. Make sure your full name, date services at sea, and what areas and how many days served in each of the 3 areas: inland, near coastal, or oceans. Include what your position was on board as well. This must be signed and dated by the captain, chief mate, owner, or the vessel's management company representative. So, to recap, qualifying for Merchant Mariner Sea Service involves a minimum of 4 hours of work per day, a certain number of days based on the credential sought, and the location of service.
Once you have completed all your Sea Service CG 719S forms and collected all your Sea Service letters and documentation, check the grand total of sea service inland, the grand total of sea service near coastal, and the grand total of sea service on oceans to make sure you have at least 360 days of sea service. To request a 100-ton near coastal license, you must have at least 720 days grand total, of which no more than 360 inland days may be applied. Additionally, the tonnage minimum is at least 180 days of your sea service must be on vessels 51 gross registered tons or more, or 360 days of time on vessels greater than 34 gross registered tons. That means that you must have at least 360 days inland and 360 days near coastal or oceans to apply for the 100-ton master near coastal on vessels of the appropriate tonnage. For a 50-ton near coastal, you must have 180 days on vessels 26 gross registered tons, or 360 days of vessels of 17 gross registered tons. The grand total sea time is the same as the 100-ton master. For a 25-ton near coastal, you must have 541 days on vessels 5 gross registered tons, or 180 days of vessels of 6 to 25 gross registered tons, or 360 days of vessels of 1 to 16 gross registered tons. The grand total sea time is the same as the 100-ton master. All of these, 100 tons, 50 tons, and 25 tons, require you have at least 90 days of these times within the last 3 years. Once you've sorted out which license level and operating area you may apply for, place that information in the CG 719B form in the license requested area.
Mariners working on small vessels can utilize the CG 719S form, while others can provide sea service letters. Remember, every detail counts when it comes to proving your sea service.
Welcome to our guide on how to apply for and receive a Transportation Workers Identification Credential, also known as TWIC. In this video, we will guide you through the process step by step. We will start by showing you how to access the Transportation Security Administration website. Then we will walk you through the online application for a TWIC. We will also provide you with information on how to schedule an appointment and what identification you will need to bring. So let's get started. The Transportation Worker Identification Credential, also known as TWIC, is required by the Maritime Transportation Security Act for workers who need access to secure areas of the nation's maritime facilities and vessels. TSA conducts a security threat assessment, background check, to determine a person's eligibility and issues the credential. U.S. citizens and immigrants in certain immigration categories may apply for the credential. Most mariners licensed by the U.S. Coast Guard also require a credential. The first step is to complete the online application, or you can complete the entire process in person at an application center. You can go to the TSA webpage listed here to find an application center near you. We will utilize the online application option in this video. To apply online, go to the TSA, Transportation Security Administration website at tsa.gov/TWIC. Under the TWIC option, select Apply. Fill in the information requested: your full legal name, your gender, your date of birth, your preferred language, your email and phone number. Continue to the next section. Here you will be required to fill out TSA disclosure and certification information concerning your background and criminal history of any. Once these have been filled out online, you will need to review the documentation that you will be required to provide at your regional TSA application center. You can find out exactly what documentation you will be required to provide by going to the TSA website at the provided webpage and selecting Required Documents. Required documentation may vary. From here, you will provide your citizenship and place of birth information. Following this, you will be able to select from a menu the options available for you for your required documentation to take to your appointment at an application center. Applicants can schedule an appointment at an application center online or by phone or walk-in to submit their documents. At the application center, you will complete any required documentation, provide the documentation needed. Applicants will be fingerprinted and have a facial photo taken. Applicants pay a non-refundable fee by credit card, money order, company check, or cashier's check. If approved, applicants can pick up their card from the application center or have it delivered to their home address. They can also check their application status online. Cards are valid for 5 years unless the individual no longer meets eligibility requirements.
It may seem daunting, but no need to worry. Filling out a United States Coast Guard CG 719K medical form, as we're going to unravel this task piece by piece. Download and place a CG 719K form in front of you. Now, start by printing your name and date of birth at the bottom of all the pages. This simple step ensures that each page of your form is identifiable and connected to you. Do this on all 10 pages, as you will have to submit all the pages in this form. When you go to your physical, make sure you bring a legal photo ID. The first page provides detailed instructions including who must submit this form. As a first-time applicant, it includes you. It then tells you who may conduct the physical examination. Any United States licensed doctor, medical practitioner, physician assistant, or nurse practitioner may perform your exam. It then moves on to explain all the boxes in Section 1, the applicant information, Section 2, food handler certification, and Section 3, medical conditions. Page 2 continues with instructions on Section 4 through Section 11. The medical practitioner must initial and date these pages.
On page 3 of your CG 719K form, you're required to fill in your personal information, starting with your full name. You'll then need to provide your Social Security number or Mariner's Reference number, followed by your gender and date of birth. After that, you'll input your home address. If you have a secondary address for receiving mail, fill that in too. However, if it's the same as your home address, you can skip this part. Lastly, you'll select the endorsement you're seeking from your CG 719B form, with DEC and STCW being the minimum selections.
Section 2 is not your responsibility. This section will be filled out by your medical practitioner during your physical. The medical practitioner will ask you and review with you any communicable disease you may or may not have and mark the appropriate box. They will then initial and date page 3. If you have a medical waiver for any items listed in this section, you will need to bring proof of that waiver to the examination. Part A revolves around medical conditions. Each question needs to be answered with either a yes, no, previously had but no longer, or medical waiver. Now, if you answered yes to any of Part A, you'll need to provide more detail in Part B. This section is about elaborating on those medical conditions, so make sure to be as thorough as possible. If you do have a medical waiver for any of the items, you will need to include a copy of the waiver when you submit this application. Section 4 is all about medications. List any medications you take and provide details concerning them. Remember, full disclosure is key. The medical practitioner will discuss each of your medications and, if necessary, will provide comments here. In Section 5, your medical practitioner will give a report about your current physical condition. This section will include an overall medical status including height, weight, blood pressure, pulse, body mass, and the basic exam results. Moving on to Section 6 and 7, these will be filled out by your medical practitioner as well. They pertain to your vision and hearing abilities respectively. Section 6 is your vision test. It will include color vision test. Section 7 will be your hearing test. Section 8 requires a basic demonstration of physical abilities, which will be conducted by the medical practitioner. Here, they want to make sure you can physically handle basic shipboard duties. Section 9, the summary of the physical, will also be filled out by your medical practitioner. This will include their information and license data. Section 10 is your application certification. This is to be signed and dated by you at the end of the exam. Section 11 is consent for release of information. Part A provides consent from you to share the medical data on this form with the United States Coast Guard. If you wish to share this form with another third party, you'll need to fill out Part B. And finally, Part C provides for consent from you to have a third party act on your behalf if there are any issues concerning this physical examination. Once you've completed the physical with the medical practitioner, Include a copy of the form in your documentation for your license to be sent to the United States Coast Guard. You will need to send all 10 pages of this to the Coast Guard with the rest of your application. And there you have it. We've covered each section of the CG 719K form. Following these steps will ensure a smooth process in completing this crucial document.
The next step in your Coast Guard application is your USCG drug test. Now that you're ready to get your initial USCG drug test, you'll need to complete the CG 719P drug test form. This is a required drug test for your initial application for both national and STCW applications. Page 1 has the information about you and the results of the testing. Page 2 provides options for periodic drug testing. Section 1 of the form is your personal information. Fill out your full name. No nicknames, no abbreviations, your complete name as it appears on your official documents. Next, you must provide your social security number and, if you have one, your mariner's reference number. Then sign and date the application when you arrive at the drug test facility of your choice.
Make sure you bring a legal photo ID. The first page provides detailed instructions including who must submit this form.
Section 2 will be filled out by the drug test facility when you arrive. After you've completed your test, the specimen you provide will be sent to a lab and the results analyzed. The results will then be sent to the facility and Section 3 will be filled out by the drug testing facility. You will be notified by the facility as to when you can pick up your test. Most facilities will also offer the option to have the results sent directly to you by mail.